Entertaining, but messy. That's how I would describe race 1 of F1 Academy's Singapore round. Because firstly, I was convinced that there were magnets in the cars and the runoff areas. For a race that had 14 laps and 2 safety car periods, we saw the cars going on to the runoff areas a surprising number of times. But in a way, I kind of think it's a good thing. It's pretty well known that this track isn't the easiest to make overtakes on, and the fact that they were going into the runoff area so often suggests to me that they were really trying to make these overtakes. And yes, okay, it was a little messy, but this series is essentially F4, so they are going to make mistakes. Speaking of making mistakes, Block didn't make that many, so she got her maiden win from pole, and I was really impressed with her defence and her restarts. Although she didn't have a great start, and her teammate Aurelia Nobles looked like she might have taken the lead. And while she didn't, she really put in a shift during the race. Unfortunately, Nobles only has 3 more races to take her maiden win in F1 Academy before her time is up in the series. And I would love for her to get that because she's one of the drivers that's really stood out to me as being someone who is really trying. But unfortunately, her qualifying hasn't been that strong, so I am hoping she at least gets a podium. 2 other drivers who didn't have the race that they were hoping for were Bruce and Billard. Bruce is stepping in this round for Anagnostiadis because she fractured her left foot, and Billard is the wild card. So this weekend is really important for them to be able to try and get a seat for next year. With Bruce, she did actually make up 3 places, but she didn't have a great start, and it wasn't a race where she really shone. And like I said, the point of this is that they can try and get a seat for next year. Then with Billard, she didn't have a great start, she spun after making contact with Larson, and then her car caught on fire, which obviously is not her fault, but it does mean that she DNF'd. And also as a side note, it's a bit crazy that 2 Formula cars are caught on fire at the circuit during this weekend. But I do hope that both drivers have a much better race too. And I think another thing that added to the messiness is that Ferrara's car kept half breaking down. And that was up until she was shown a black and orange flag towards the end of the race. But for most of the other drivers, it seemed like they had a pretty decent race and it was really entertaining to watch. It was the kind of race where if someone said to me, oh, I'm not too sure about watching F1 Academy, I'd go, look, just watch this one, I think you'd quite enjoy it. And then that leaves us with the championship. Coming into the weekend, Pan could have potentially won the championship, but after race 1, I don't think it's going to happen here. Pan went from P7 to P5, and her closest challenger, Verg, went from P8 to P2, as though Verg made up the highest number of places in the race out of all of the drivers, and tomorrow she's going to be starting on pole. But I think that's going to make Las Vegas really exciting, and I wish I could be there because I think it will be all to play for. And when it comes to the team championship, Prema have managed to maintain their lead of 45 points.